A billionaire CEO sneers at a tired waitress. Do they hire anyone here? No education required? Her hands tremble as he humiliates her in front of the entire restaurant. No one expects what happens next. She turns, looks him in the eye, and flawlessly speaks 5 languages, leaving him and everyone else completely shocked. What he doesn't know is that this quiet waitress is far more brilliant than he could ever imagine. Listen to the full story. Comment below where you're watching from and share your thoughts. I want to hear your reaction. The restaurant opened before sunrise, and so did Maya's exhaustion. Alabaster Row glowed like a cathedral of wealth, all ivory pillars, imported Italian marble floors, and chandeliers that dripped light like golden tears. To the people who dined there, it was a morning routine. For Maya, it was a battlefield of forced smiles and heavy trays that left red welts on her palms. She tied her apron slowly, mechanically, the same way she'd done every day for the past 8 months. The black fabric felt like a uniform for invisibility. Just one more shift, just survive this one. She repeated it silently, a mantra carved into her bones. Maya wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to be scraping plates to make rent or wiping down tables for people who tipped based on mood rather than humanity. She was supposed to be finishing her graduate work abroad, defending her thesis, publishing, expanding her world. But life didn't care about dreams. It cared about bills and nightmares. Her mother's medical debt had been the first crack. The collapse of her scholarship after funding cuts was the shatter. Now Maya lived in a small studio apartment with no air conditioning, running on too little sleep and too much hope. But the biggest thing she hid? Her mind. No one at Alabaster Row knew that beneath the quiet girl who refilled water glasses was someone who could read academic papers in 6 languages and speak 4 of them fluently. She kept her brilliance tucked away like a fragile relic, beautiful but too expensive to carry into this world. Her manager's voice cut through her thoughts. "Maya, VIP table at 7. Be attentive, okay? These people are important." Meaning these people were unforgiving. She nodded. Got it. And she did. She always did. Yet every day, deep down, a part of her wondered if she'd ever escape the role everyone forced her into, the role she forced herself into. Across the city, the 58th floor of the Yamazaki Global Tower buzzed like a hive around its cold, controlled king. Riku Yamazaki walked through the hall as if the floor bent beneath his shoes. Tall, immaculate, black-haired with razor-sharp eyes, he looked like someone sculpted from frost and discipline. His assistant scrambled behind him, speaking too quickly, breathing too loudly. He hated noise. He hated anything that chipped at his control. "Sir, your morning board meeting starts in 10, the investors from the London branch." "I'm aware," he replied without turning. His voice carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed, but beneath the ice, beneath the precision, was something no one ever saw, a tightness in his chest he could never name. He ran a global real estate empire built on ruthless work. His name opened doors, closed mergers, and intimidated markets. But none of that ever quieted the old ache in his stomach, the one carved when his father abandoned him and his mother told him success was the only way to avoid being left again. Be the best, be untouchable, be impossible to leave. So he built wall after wall, each one higher than the last. But something unusual had crept into him lately, a deep, bone-heavy weariness. His assistant tried again. "Sir, your morning coffee, the imported one, with 'I'm not hungry.'" "You're never hungry." He stopped walking. The assistant froze behind him, eyes widening at his own boldness. But Riku didn't scold him. He just paused, feeling the hollow echo inside his chest. He wanted something. He didn't know what. Peace? Silence? Warmth? All he knew was that he couldn't find it here anymore. "Book me a breakfast table at Alabaster Row," he ordered. The assistant blinked. "But sir, that place is below your—" "I said book it."
Riku didn't understand why he chose that restaurant. Maybe he wanted the illusion of normalcy. Maybe he wanted a place where no one expected brilliance from him. Or maybe fate wanted a collision. Maya set the table at 7, just as Riku stepped inside the restaurant. She didn't see him first. She just felt a shift, like the air stirred with an unfamiliar, cold energy. When she looked up, their eyes barely met before she lowered hers again. He was the type of man the restaurant was built for. Sharp suit, quiet dominance, the kind of aura that said he'd never worked a day behind a counter. He didn't look at her. She didn't expect to. But the universe was already pulling invisible threads tighter, bringing two wounded worlds within inches of colliding. And by the end of this breakfast, neither of their lives would look the same. If you're hooked already, like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional storytelling.
Riku sat at the VIP table without acknowledging anyone. His fingers tapped on the white tablecloth, his jaw tight with unspoken pressure. Maya approached carefully. "Good morning," she said softly. He didn't look up. "I'll have the Sumatra blend, black." "Of course, sir." She brought the coffee within minutes, carefully placed, perfectly brewed, exactly how he ordered it. But when he finally tasted it, he frowned. "This isn't the right blend." Her heart dropped. I'm sorry, sir. Let me check." He set the cup down sharply. "Do you even understand what I asked for?" The room turned quieter. Maya swallowed. "Yes, sir. Sumatra. Clearly not." His voice was cold enough to frost the table. "Do they hire anyone here? No education required anymore, I assume?" The words hit like a slap. Her hand tightened on the tray. She felt the old wounds flare, the humiliation of losing her scholarship, the shame of working a job beneath her qualifications, the exhaustion of being seen as nothing. She bowed slightly. "I'll replace it, sir." But he wasn't done. "Just bring someone who knows what they're doing." Gasps rippled. A manager turned toward them. Maya's pulse pounded. "Not again. Please." Something in her chest cracked. Not anger, but a deep, aching disappointment in herself for allowing others to shrink her. She stepped back, but then a customer asked a question from another table. "Excuse me, miss, do you have the gluten-free menu? I only have one in Italian." Maya froze. Her throat tightened. Not now. But the old version of her, the one before debt, before exhaustion, whispered, "Stop hiding." She turned to the customer and answered softly, fluently, in perfect Italian. The entire section fell silent. Riku looked up sharply. The customer blinked. "Oh, you speak Italian?" "Sì, signora. Vuole che le traduca qualcosa?" His eyes widened. Another customer, half joking, said, "Do you know French?" Maya switched seamlessly. "Oui, je peux vous aider si vous avez besoin d'assistance." Another voice, "What about Japanese?" Her pulse jumped. She hesitated, just a heartbeat, then answered, "Hai, Nihongo mo hanasemasu. Nanika hitsuyou desu ka?" The room gasped. Riku's cup froze halfway to his lips. Her Japanese was flawless, flawless. He stared at her, something raw crossing his expression, confusion, embarrassment, something else he didn't recognize. Maya bowed slightly, face calm but chest trembling. "My apologies for the earlier misunderstanding, sir," she said, turning back to him. "I will replace your coffee immediately." But this time, her voice didn't shake. This time, she wasn't small. She walked away before he could respond. The room buzzed with whispers. Riku sat stunned. His arrogance cracked open like ice. For the first time in years, he felt ashamed. Not anger, not superiority. Shame. He had wounded someone who clearly carried more intelligence in her quiet tone than most executives he worked with.
He leaned back slowly, the walls around him trembling. Who is she? When Maya returned with the correct blend, she set the cup down gently, without meeting his eyes. Enjoy your coffee, sir. She turned. Maya. She froze. Her name sounded different in his tone, softer, almost hesitant. I spoke without thinking, he said quietly. I was wrong. She stiffened. Apologies rarely came from men like him. But she nodded, because forgiveness was easier than bitterness. Thank you, sir. He watched her walk away, something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. Respect, curiosity, regret. Something had shifted between them, deeply, irreversibly. Tell me your reaction so far in the comments. What did you feel during the language reveal?
From that morning on, Riku couldn't stop noticing Maya. He noticed the way she tied her apron tighter when she was stressed, the way she murmured facts under her breath when organizing the wine shelves, the way she became invisible by choice, shrinking into corners to avoid conflict. It bothered him, not because she was a waitress, but because someone so brilliant had convinced herself she belonged in the shadows. He found himself coming back to Alabaster Row more often, at first to apologize again, then to observe, then without being able to explain it. Maya noticed him too, and she hated that she did. Every time he walked in, her stomach tightened, not because she feared him, but because she didn't understand him. One moment he was cold, the next strangely gentle. He tipped generously but discreetly. He corrected rude customers. He never mocked her again. But she didn't trust him. Men like him didn't change. They lived in a different universe, one where life bent for them. So she kept her distance. One afternoon, a group of wealthy young men entered, loud and entitled. Riku happened to be there. Maya approached their table. The men smirked. Hey, sweetheart, smile more. You'll get better tips. Riku's jaw sharpened. When Maya explained the menu in precise French, the men laughed. One whispered loudly, bet she just memorized that. Another added, or slept her way into learning it. Before Maya could respond, before she could even breathe, Riku stood. That's enough. His voice thundered across the dining room. The men froze. He walked to their table, slow, lethal, calm. You will speak to her with respect, he said, or you will leave. The men scoffed until they saw who he was, the billionaire, the owner of the building, the man who could end their contracts. They swallowed hard. Fine, one muttered. Riku didn't sit until they quieted down. Maya looked at him, startled. Thank you, she whispered when she passed his table. He nodded, but inside, tension brewed. External pressure hit next. The restaurant was undergoing renovation in a week. Staff schedules were shifting. Maya and Riku found themselves forced into multiple interactions, small conversations, brief glances, accidental touches. The world kept pushing them together whether they liked it or not. Maya resisted every pull. Riku didn't understand the pull, but both felt it, and fate had one more push prepared. A storm was coming, literally and emotionally, and they would have no choice but to weather it together. Subscribe for more Don't Miss the Emotional Buildup.
The storm struck on a Thursday night. Wind howled across the city, rattling windows, streets flooded. When Riku tried to leave the restaurant after a late dinner meeting, his driver called. "Sir, the roads are blocked. We can't reach you." He stared out the window. Rain blurred everything. He sighed. Maya approached with towels. "We're closing early. The power might go out." He nodded, distracted. Then the manager approached Maya. "You live far. The storm's too dangerous. You should wait inside until it calms." Maya hesitated. The buses weren't running. Her apartment was too far to walk through flooded streets. She nodded reluctantly. Riku overheard, and something unfamiliar tugged at him. He didn't like the idea of her stranded. He didn't like the idea of anyone hurting her. It bothered him more than it should have. When the lights flickered, the staff panicked. The backup generator kicked in, leaving the restaurant dimly lit with warm emergency lamps. The manager sent everyone home except the essential crew, Maya included. Hours passed. Rain hammered the windows. Riku found himself alone in the VIP lounge until Maya entered quietly to restock candles. "Are you still here?" he asked. "Yes, it's not safe to leave yet." Silence stretched. She looked cold. He shrugged off his coat and stood, offering it awkwardly. She blinked. "Oh, no, I'm fine." "You're shivering." She hesitated before accepting it. Their fingers brushed. A spark, unmistakable. She turned away quickly, lighting candles. He watched her work, calm, focused, graceful even in the dim light. "You speak 4 languages," he said softly. She tensed. 5. He exhaled. "Why work here?" She froze. No one ever asked that with sincerity. Usually it was judgment disguised as curiosity. She faced him. "Because life doesn't care how smart you are when the bills come." He flinched, not at her words, but at how closely they echoed his own upbringing. "Someone like you," she continued, "wouldn't understand." "I do." She looked skeptical. So he told her. Not everything, but enough. The pressure, the abandonment, the feeling that nothing he did was ever enough. For the first time, Maya saw not a billionaire, but a wounded man. Something softened inside her. Hours passed, the storm raged, and 2 people who never should have shared more than a cup of coffee found themselves sharing silence, fears, and unexpectedly gentle truths. Near dawn, Maya admitted something too. "I didn't want you to see me this way, small, struggling, diminished." Riku shook his head. "I didn't see that, not once." "Then what did you see?" "A woman who made an entire room fall silent with nothing but her mind." Their eyes met. Something fragile, but real, formed between them. A bond neither wanted to acknowledge. But just as the room warmed with unsaid possibilities, fate whispered a warning. Nothing this beautiful survives without being tested.
When the storm cleared, reality returned harder than rain. And reality had teeth. Riku's company entered a PR crisis. A leaked internal document tied his brand to a partnership scandal, something he'd refused to sign off on, but the media didn't care. Overnight, he became a headline. Cold CEO, untouchable billionaire, Yamazaki Empire under fire. He retreated behind walls again, pushing everyone away, including Maya. She tried not to take it personally, but the quiet hurt anyway. She missed their storm-lit conversations, the way he looked at her like she wasn't invisible. Then came the betrayal. A viral video appeared online titled, "Waitress humiliates billionaire by correcting him in multiple languages." Someone had recorded their Act 2 moment. It was edited, sensationalized, twisted to make Riku look foolish, cruel, and ignorant. It spread like wildfire. Comment sections roasted him. Journalists mocked him. Investors panicked. The company's PR team claimed Maya leaked it. Riku, under pressure and losing everything, believed them. He arrived at the restaurant furious. "Maya, my office, now!" She followed him to a private room, heart pounding. He tossed a printed screenshot on the table. "You did this." Her chest collapsed. "What? I would never—" "You humiliated me publicly. You humiliated me first." They both froze. The truth sat heavy between them. Her voice cracked. "I didn't record anything. I didn't post anything. Why would I endanger the only job I have?"
He stared at her, searching, doubting, hurting. She stepped closer, tears building. "Riku, look at me. Do I seem like the kind of person who would use someone's pain as entertainment?" His throat tightened. She was right. But his pride, his lifelong shield, refused to lower. "You're clever. Maybe too clever." Her tears fell. "Is that what you think of me, after everything we shared?" He looked away. She stepped back slowly. "I see. The moment you're threatened, you turn into the same man who mocked me. That's not fair. It's true." Silence cut sharp as knives. She handed him back his coat, the one he'd given her during the storm. "Keep it," she whispered. "I don't need anything from you." She walked away. He didn't stop her. For the first time in years, Riku felt something worse than anger. Regret. Deep, crushing, consuming. The next day, the real culprit was found. A customer who had filmed the scene months ago to mock Riku and only uploaded it after the scandal for attention. Riku's heart stopped. He had destroyed someone innocent. Someone he didn't finish the thought. He ran, literally ran, out of his office, down the street, rain pouring again as if the sky mirrored his guilt. He reached Alabaster Row breathless. Maya was outside, waiting for a bus. Her shoulders slumped, her eyes swollen. "Maya!" She stiffened. He walked toward her slowly, chest heaving. "I was wrong. Not just today, not just the accusation. I've been wrong since the moment I assumed you were small." She swallowed hard. "You're not small. You're extraordinary." Tears rushed to her eyes, but she didn't speak. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it." She looked at him finally. He stepped closer, rain soaking them both. "I learned something from you, something worth more than reputation or success." She waited. Riku exhaled, voice cracking. "That the person you underestimate might be the one who saves you." Her walls softened. Slowly, painfully slowly, she stepped closer. Not fully, not safely, but willingly. "Then show me," she whispered. He nodded. "Every day, if you'll let me." A long silence, rain, breath. Then she took his hand. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't a surrender. It was a beginning. Two flawed people finding their way through pride, pain, misunderstanding, and unexpected tenderness. The world judged them by status, but they knew the truth. He mocked her mind. She shook his soul. And together they learned that sometimes the person you never expected enters your life not as a lesson, but a turning point. If this story moved you, like, comment your feelings, and subscribe for more emotional storytelling.